Coming to the resolution, because it's all very fresh, so what we have tried to do, the team that I mentioned, with my humble submissions incorporated, and I'm going to read it out to you for approval, so that we can pass it as a resolution, and we call it Islamabad Resolution on Girls' Education in Contemporary Muslim Societies, April 2011. Great Britain, with support of Dubai Cares, held on 19th and 20th of April in Islamabad, Pakistan, express our firm commitment to girls' education and reinforce the fact that girls' education is fundamental to breaking the shackles of poverty, bigotry, and ignorance for any society as a whole. The participants of this conference, including educationists, academics, writers, students, and human rights campaigners, are of the view that in contemporary Muslim societies, it is not poverty alone, but dominant social norms in the name of culture and religion that inhibit girls' education and perpetuate absolute political control over the bodies and minds of girls and women. The participants of this two-day conference, after comprehensive discussions and deliberations, propose the following actions. And mind you, it is about the contemporary Muslim societies as a whole and not just about Pakistan, but since the conference is taking place here, there are a couple of points which are specific to our situation. 1. Girls' education should not be seen as a socio-religious issue and cannot be denied on any such pretext. It is a fundamental and inalienable right. 2. It is essential for all Muslim majority countries to incorporate gender equality perspectives in the mainstream curricula and remove preconceived notions about gender roles that exist in both formal and non-formal curricula. 3. Gender-based budgeting policy should be promoted in the educational budget for mainstreaming girls' education. State resources, external aid, and private funding must clearly highlight the amount earmarked for girls' education, which means thereby that all data should be gender disaggregated. 4. The education planning at any level must be gender sensitive to ensure enhanced access, safety, and enabling environment for girls to attend schools. 5. In Pakistan, the introduction of Article 25A as part of the 18th Amendment to the Constitution of Pakistan is highly appreciable, which makes it mandatory for the state to provide secondary education to all. However, this can only bring about a substantive and positive transformation if it is translated into correct policy formulation and effective implementation, which means that Article 25A requires subordinate legislations at the provincial level for the realization of this article. 6. Whether it is the state or a private sector or a private actor, impeding access to education, particularly for girls, there should be a legal provision to impose penalties on such actors. 7. Educating girls should be seen as an affirmative action for resource-constrained communities. 8. While the increasing budgetary allocations for education in some Muslim countries represented in this conference, particularly Indonesia and Malaysia, are noteworthy, there is a need to consider the promotion of rational and scientific education as a priority. 8. All primary teachers across developing Muslim societies should be women. 9. There should be comprehensive gender mainstreaming in preparedness, mitigation, and response for emergencies and disasters in the education sector. 9. Local systems of education governance need to be strengthened with the participation of communities, parents, teachers, and other local stakeholders. Local education bodies with significant participation of women could be the focal bodies for education governance at the local level. 10. It should be ensured legally and procedurally that girls from minority communities in Muslim majority societies have access to the same facilities which are afforded to the majority community.